Hello, people. I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do this. But it comes with the job, doesn't it? It comes with the job. So you do this whether you win or whether you lose. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. You should be able to hear me. I'm hoping so. Can you hear me? You can. Okay. Basically, it's because I am speaking really sullenly and horrible. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Aubameyang was in near tears by the end of that game, for good reason. Obviously, for missing that ridiculous chance. I don't know what to say. We're gonna go through some of your comments and talk through them, and maybe it will be a slight amount of therapy that I need to actually be able to send me to sleep, because I just can't think of anything except laying in bed with my eyes open and not sleeping at all. And there's a lot of feelings that I'm feeling right now. One is that of utter bewilderment, in the sense that we've been here before loads of times. Like Arsenal have been in this situation. I think of Monaco. I think of being absolutely trounced by Bayern. I think of just losing stupid games, and it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. For me, it was more surprising because it's a new era. It's a new regime under Arteta. But other than that, I can't quite put into words. There's a really horrible feeling inside me that we're going to see some people completely get on Arteta for this, when for me, I don't know what more Arteta could have done. A lot of people will say that he shouldn't have started Lacazette, but at the same time, you look at the team that was put out at the start of that game. There was enough quality in that side to win that game in the first half. We went to Greece, we won 1-0, we did the job that we had to do. But we just weren't there in the first half at all. And I could talk about injustices, like the injustice of not having a man sent off. Olympiacos should have had a man sent off in the first half for taking up Pepe through on goal, but they didn't. And you've got to pick yourself up from that, and you've got to move forward from that, and you've got to take it forward. The issue is now is that there's going to be a horrific mentality issue after this game, because the players know that this is the most likely route, was the most likely route for us to get Champions League next season, and knowing that is done, that is gone, is going to be very, very difficult to come back from. This will be a huge test of Arteta's ability to turn this squad around, but it is going to be really, really difficult to do so. Let's get some of your comments. Ben Parfit says, this is all part of the learning curve. It wasn't always going to be rosy with this transition phase. We all need to keep calm. And it's I mean, you're very, very, very humble in saying that, Ben, and it's going to be very, very tough for people to do that. Deepak says we were too slow in the gameplay, too much backwards and side passing. Jack Perry, I can't watch tonight. Sorry, Tom. We'll catch it up tomorrow. I don't blame you, Jack. I don't blame you at all. It's very, very difficult for me to come on and even talk the way that I feel right now. Zlatko says, I don't blame Arteta. I blame the players who were like fashion models. No comment. There was no commitment in that side tonight. It was the arrogance was back again. The arrogance of we're through. This is it. You can't just pinpoint. I mean, there's some players in that pitch that I feel deserve some semblance of credit Bukayo Saka again just worked all night, put crosses in, did his best. Pepe, whilst the final ball in terms of the shot wasn't always there, I thought his deliveries were good. He just kept doing what he needed to do. Aubameyang ultimately got the goal. He did what he needed to do, but then missed the easiest of chances. I know that in that final moment, the ball's coming to you, and in a split second, you've got to make a decision. But you would bet your house and everything on Aubameyang scoring that goal at the end. I think that it is the biggest, for me, it means that if we were to sell Aubameyang or sell Lacazette, that it's not a massive deal, because it's a massive deal in terms of the money that would be involved, but it's not a massive deal because Arsenal are at rock bottom. Arsenal are in a situation where there's not too much more that could happen to us to make it get worse at this moment. So to sell off players that are ingrained in what we've known at the club for a few years now, and to rebuild in the summer, is probably the best situation. What we need to do, though, is we need to put ourselves in a situation where next season we can compete. And that does mean competing for a European spot again, even if it's the Europa League. It does mean pushing in the FA Cup and try and get to the end of that, maybe winning that as a possible route into Europe as well. I know it's not Champions League, but to get Champions League, you need to finish fifth, most likely, because of what's happening with City, possibly still fourth. And there's a chance that that can happen because of the amount of issues that the teams around us face and are facing. But Arsenal will need to pick up some big results. And the difference you'll see is that Arsenal will not have to play against teams that will play like Olympiacos did tonight. Now, I'm not going to criticise Olympiacos for the way they played. They played an absolutely perfect game from their perspective. A lot of people will be watching the Ajax Getafe game and completely criticise how Getafe played and won their game against Ajax, but they shouldn't criticise it because it got them the win. They did it legitimately. And Arsenal aren't going to have to sort of play against that style for the rest of the season, which is probably a good thing. But it still means that we're going to have to push forwards ultimately, and it's going to be really, really tough to do that. Avon says 3 pedestrian midfields, no drive whatsoever. Definitely agree with that. Costa Chow, hi, Gonna Talk. So sorry that you guys are out and my team beat Club Brugge, but I hope Arsenal become a bigger team than they are now. Appreciate that. That was a very humble response from what I assume is a very happy United fan. Jack the Ripper, Tom, how are we going to face those Man U fans tomorrow at work? You don't face them, mate. You just let it go. You just be by yourself. Just stick to your guns. Max Casper says, hopefully we can keep Alba and Saka, but we should sell. I think he means Xhaka when that comes round. Matt Gray, gutted, simply gutted. Hope Alba doesn't blame himself for the miss. He's done so much for us. I think he will. I think he will absolutely blame himself for that one, 100%. Mogos says, I hope this is a blessing in disguise for us to focus on the league. But why did Arteta give so many minutes to Laka while we had Gabby on the bench? Laka has scored 2 goals in his last 2 starts. Not 2 starts, sorry. He has scored 2 goals in the last 2 games that he featured in, being in Europe, and was it against Burnley? No, it wasn't against Burnley. I can't even remember. It was against Newcastle, wasn't it? But he left him on because he's someone who can score goals, and it only takes a flick of a switch for him to do that. Now, I don't think he was going to tonight whatsoever, and he didn't look like he was going to score. But Martinelli could have come on earlier, but I can't put this on Arteta. I just can't, because we've gone on 2020 unbeaten up until this point, and I mean, you can't put this on Arteta. It's just not. I know if this was Emery, we'd probably be saying something different, and it was the same result. But like Russ Morgan, for instance, Arteta cost us with the team selection. He has to take the blame. You cannot tell me that the team that was selected today was not good enough to beat Olympiacos. It wasn't. It just wasn't. It was not. That wasn't what we saw. That team was good enough to beat the Greek side that we saw today. 100%. 100%. So, yeah. Owen says, to hear the devastation in your voice is brutal, Tom. Hang in there, mate. The season will be over soon. Yeah, it's tough. It's a real tough one. Ben Biggs, so annoyed, especially when the missus comes in the room and has a go at me for making a noise. Just leave me be. Look, you probably were making too much noise and she was trying to sleep. Mine's upstairs trying to sleep right now. And I'm trying to, that's another reason why I'm trying to keep the volume down 100%. Yonic Max said, here's a question. Which one of the midfielders makes us tick? Because for me, it's no one. I think Xhaka makes us tick. I just think that we lack some creativity in that midfield and we lack energy. And whilst Ozil brings creativity and whilst Ceballos brings energy, they don't have the other side of the game that they need. Ceballos doesn't have enough creativity and Ozil doesn't have enough energy. And you need the multiple traits within those players to get a good result from them. So that's just my feeling on that. I just don't think that we have the players around the midfield at the moment to give you that energy. Bulgarian Guna says, we learn and we move on. It's probably a good way to probably end things. I don't feel like I can talk about this much more because of what's happened. And you can clearly see that I am not in a great state of mind because of it. So yeah, we're unlucky at the end of the day. Very, very unlucky. We could have taken the chances, but we didn't. We didn't do enough in the first half, and ultimately that has cost us. So yeah, what more can you say? I really hope you've enjoyed me taking 10 minutes out of my life of utter misery right now to give you some sort of show. If you have, please make sure you drop a like on it, even in your dire need and desperation of any sort of misery that you've got going on right now. And if you're new to the channel, drop a sub. I'd appreciate it. Try and get some sleep. I'm going to try and do that now, and focus on Portsmouth on Monday, and we'll see what happens with that. You can't win them all, and we move on. So I'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.